This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 252, Financial Crisis, the Greatest Gift in a Generation, by Kent Thune of goodlifezen.com. And I am Dan, your personal narrator for today and every weekday here on the podcast. This is, of course, where I read to you from some of the very best personal finance blogs on the planet. And happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Today, like yesterday, features a guest post, but this time from the site Good Life Zen, which I've read from only one other time, and it was actually from the same guest author, Kent Thune. So if you like today's material, you can also check out episode 232, where I also read his content. And this site is regularly featured on our brother podcast as well, Optimal Living Daily, because most of the articles on Good Life Zen cover personal development, so that fits in well with what Justin is doing over there. If you want to hear more about that, just search for Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that show as well for more blogs being read to you. And now let's get to this post and start optimizing your life. Financial Crisis, the Greatest Gift in a Generation, by Kent Thune with goodlifezen.com. Quote, "You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give." Khalil Gibran. Isn't it amazing what happens when money and material wealth are taken away? This post was inspired by Mary's story and those of Good Life Zen readers, as shared in her recent post, The Lost Art of Giving. What occurred to me as I read the post and the comments that followed it was that the true spirit of humanity is stronger now than I can recall in my memory. What I find encouraging and rewarding in the midst of this financial crisis is that as the excesses of greed, scandal, and consumerism are exposed and reduced, what remains for many of us is an enhanced necessity and desire to give of ourselves. In some cases, there is no other choice but to find creative means of giving because the monetary means of giving have been minimized or even removed by the destructive forces of this financial crisis. Our net worth may be less today than it was 1 year ago, but our self-worth is now enabled to be discovered, and we have been given what may be the greatest gift in a generation, the opportunity for profound personal growth. Quote, "One's own self is well hidden from one's own self. Of all mines of treasure, one's own is the last to be dug up." Friedrich Nietzsche. Why is it that something traumatic is required for us to properly align our priorities? I believe that social conventions actually cover our true selves and act as inhibitors to reaching our full potential. These inhibiting social conventions tell us to choose an area of study in college that will produce the most financially rewarding career. They push us to climb the corporate ladder, to earn more money, to buy a bigger house, and to show our love and affection by giving things. And these social conventions have us, knowingly or unknowingly, misguiding our children down the same path. Now enter the devastating financial crisis. Quote, "What the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly." Richard Bach. As a financial planner and investment advisor by trade, I could find many reasons to be pessimistic this 2008 holiday season. To the contrary, I choose to find a beautiful silver lining surrounding the darkest of clouds hanging over our heads. If you know anything about financial markets, you likely understand that they are cyclical in nature. I won't spend time or energy here discussing the quantitative dynamics of financial market movements, but my optimism with regard to the human spirit is that the end of economic cycles is marked by a removal of excess, what the media will call a recession and corresponding bear market for stocks. And this process of removal is one of rebirth and cleansing. Quote, "What is to give light must endure burning." Viktor Frankl. What the removal of excess brings is something truly amazing. The tragedy brought forth by the worst in humanity simultaneously enables the best in humanity, much in the same way a devastating storm brings neighbors together and inspires the victims to reflect on what is most important in life. When we give of ourselves rather than things. As we observe all that we have lost, our survival instinct reminds us of what we still possess, those things that go beyond the physical and material, our health, family, personal relationships, and our capacity to hope. And we are reminded that the pursuit of money, material wealth, and social status, collectively called the rat race, does not bring us closer to happiness, but paradoxically takes us further away from it by diverting us away from the path to meaning and purpose in our lives. Quote, "I tell you that virtue is not given by money, but that from virtue comes money and every other good of man." Socrates. As we end a year that history will remember as the worst for the economy and stock market in a generation, I will remember 2008 as the greatest gift in a generation. The opportunity to realize our misplaced desire to pursue money, material wealth, and social status is a pursuit void of meaning and purpose. May we all remember, maintain, and teach our children that life is not about making money. Money is about making a life. This would truly be the gift that keeps on giving. You just listened to the post titled Financial Crisis, the Greatest Gift in a Generation by Kent Thune with goodlifezen.com. And while that was written during the financial crisis of 2008, there were a lot of great takeaways from it, so hopefully you found that to be helpful. And again, Ken is a guest author on Good Life Zen, and I read his post to you also in episode 232. For more Good Life Zen content being read to you, you can subscribe to the podcast Optimal Living Daily, our brother podcast, where Justin reads more personal development posts to you each and every day. Now, moving on to tomorrow, we're going to be hearing the start of a 3-part post from Zen Habits. So have a happy Valentine's Day, and I'll see you there in the Wednesday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.